If you pay any more than that, it's actually charitable. A few weeks ago, I made a video about how to sell your car like a professional, how to represent it to an audience, how to deal with interested buyers, negotiate, get the most money for it, and have the quickest, easiest, most pain-free transaction. Of course, the counter lesson to that is, how do you get the best deal possible? How do I make a lowball offer to a seller and not let them be insulted, but in fact, accept it? Now, before we go any further, I have to say as clearly as I possibly can that if you're just looking to go out and shop for a used car, do not listen to this. It is the worst advice you could ever get. This is designed for a very narrow use case where you already know everything about a specific car, not the make and model, but the specific car by VIN that you want. You know its history, you know the problems it might have, and you're ready to buy it regardless of what else it might need. That's how you make a lowball offer. This is not a way that you go out and buy normal transportation the way everybody shops for useful cars. This works for me and has worked over and over again to buy cars that I went into the deal and the interest already knowing everything that I should be afraid of. And it's a way to make an offer low enough that you can accept those risks. For someone just looking for daily transportation, that is not the way you should buy a car. So if that's what you want to do, if you just want to go shop for used cars and get a good deal, do not listen to any of this and don't use this advice. These are 5 tips that will allow you to package a really low, potentially insulting offer in a way that a seller will actually appreciate and hopefully accept. The first one is that you have to qualify yourself. Consider the fact that you are competing with dealerships. Dealerships have a lot more money, they buy a lot more cars, they have the ability to immediately and quickly inspect a car, decide what they want to pay, and they do this every single day. So as a private individual that wants to buy a car, whether it's from a dealer who could easily sell it to another dealer at a wholesale value, or a private individual who could very easily take the car to a dealership or even CarMax and probably get more than you're going to be trying to get them to sell it for. You're trying to get a car for dead wholesale or even below, and this is a set of ideas on how to make that possible. Now, to qualify yourself, you're going to explain other cars you've owned like this, the issues you know are common on these cars, the service nightmares, the time bomb issues, all the things that they're already worried that somebody might know that would keep them from being interested. But you're saying what those are and asking very specific questions to let them know you know what you're doing. You're the right person for them to give the best deal because everything else is going to become really, really easy. A key part of qualifying yourself is disqualifying every other buyer, and you do that by accentuating the fear that all used car sellers have. That when they sell this car, inevitably, even though they're just representing it as is and they believe it's a good car and they're selling it in good faith, that the thing's just going to break and that somebody's going to get really mad at them and ask them to pay for something after the fact that's not really their fault. So you're going to let them know that fear doesn't belong in this transaction with you. Everybody else, for sure, that's going to happen because you know this, that, and everything else is going to break on this car, and the offer you've made reflects that. So you're ready for it, you're okay with it, and you're not going to have it come back on them. Obviously, this works better, and this whole strategy honestly works better when the car is in pretty bad condition. When people are kind of scared to sell it, or they know that something about the car, like a blemished title or some bad history, or the current condition of the car, is inherently going to alienate most buyers. And so you're qualifying yourself by saying, I know all these things, and I'm still here, I'm still okay with it, I want the car, but I need it to be at this price. Part of qualifying yourself is qualifying the fact that in this deal, the only variable that you want control over is the price. Everything else is on their terms. Now you're going to protect yourself, you're going to do a deal in person, pay, get car, get title, manage all that safely, but the only thing you care about is the price that you have already figured out the car is worth. Now, keep in mind that when I say that after some back and forth shrewd negotiation, we met right smack dab in the middle at my original offer, that is because as I make that offer, I'm explaining why. So not only am I qualifying myself, I'm explaining why that's the right price. That yeah, that's sky high retail, so this is probably what a dealer would want to pay, but they're going to want to make sure that it doesn't have this, all these things that your car probably needs, and I'm okay with it needing, so I need to pay this. which is way back of wholesale, but it's going to be quick, easy. Again, the only thing I care about is that if you'll accept that, I'll do it right now. So that takes us to the second point. You volunteer commitment. Now, when someone's selling a car, whether they're a professional used car salesman, new car salesman, or just a private seller, they're out fishing for that commitment, and they don't expect to find it. Because if you want to be able to negotiate, you don't commit to an offer. You say, I might do this, I might want to do this, I need to probably get it checked out, I've got all these things, but that's not how we're doing this. You are going to immediately say, I will pay this for this car. You'll have already said why you believe that it needs to be cheaper than what they're asking. But when you say what you will pay, don't say, I'll probably do this, or, if this all works out and we get to the same page and we check this car out, then I would do this. No, I will pay this for that car. That way they know, okay, well, at least I know, even if I'm insulted, I have their full commitment. And they may believe that that now is an invitation to start negotiating and meet right smack dab in the middle between those numbers, but no, you've made an offer on purpose, you've decided what the car is worth. If you pay any more than that, it's actually charitable. So as you're presenting this offer, we get to the third thing. You eliminate your own outs. When somebody sells a car, they expect someone to want to look at it, to test drive it, to take it to a mechanic and get an inspection, to sleep on it overnight, to ask their wives. You're not doing any of that. Again, the only thing you want to do is get your price, because you've padded that price by the worst things that could happen in all these other things. Now, you could go through all those steps, and if you need to have peace of mind, that's fine. But that means they're going to have a lot more time invested in your transaction, and it becomes a lot less interesting relative to letting a dealer look at it, drive it around, go back and forth, make you an offer, and leave with a check. You're not asking for that. You're asking for the full retail buying experience. Now, of course, this involves a ton of risk. You are going to buy cars that need a lot of repairs. Every car I buy needs a lot of repairs, but I know what repairs are likely, and I'm kind of gambling with that. I know that I bought the car well, and I might not have to do all those repairs. That $7,000 differential that's sitting behind me, used for an LP640, I might not have had to replace that on the gray car, but I did, and that was okay because I bought it knowing that if I had to do that and several other things, which were also reasonably likely, I was still going to be okay. So I'm not making an offer qualified by all these other things that I might want to do. I'm again saying, I will buy your car for this price. And that's what works. The next thing should really go without saying, but I'm going to say it. Close quickly. There's nothing like the feeling of having a seller, after a little bit of back and forth, accept your offer and knowing that you've just gotten the deal of a lifetime. It's happened to me so many times. And I mean, it's better than trying to drive 200 miles an hour, racing across the country. To me, the endorphins, everything that's good about that moment, there's nothing like it. To find this impossible car and then get this incredible deal because you've been able to make the seller believe that you're the right person to buy it, it just doesn't get any better than that. But when that happens, close quickly. If you need financing, it's okay. It's a little bit harder to get a great deal, but you're going to go into this already having that pre-qualified. You'll have called Premier Financial or whoever you want to use, and you're going to know exactly that you can pay this number and all the steps that are going to have to be taken for this deal to consummate. If they're going to have some payoff, you know how that's going to happen. You know what will make you comfortable, and that's again part of the offer to say, all right, this is what I'm paying, and this is how we close. Again, it's not asking for other things to happen. We're not saying, and now we're going to go get a compression check. You're just talking about how the whole deal is going to consummate. There's the car, there's the title, and there's the money. Nobody gets to have all three. You can take the car and give them the money, and then they have to send you the title, because if they don't, you could get a bonded title. That gives you some protection. If they have the car and they have the money, then you take the title. If they don't give you the car, you could say it was stolen. Your insurance will pay you back. And if you have the money and they have the car and the title, well, then you haven't done a deal yet. So until you switch places, the car's not yours. But the goal is to do that as quickly and effectively as possible. The other reason for that is you want to limit your competition. You want to let them know as soon as you start going through this process, I want you to take all the listings down. I want us to have a very honest, good faith discussion about what I'm going to buy your car for, and that's going to conclude very, very quickly. And that takes us to the next point. Do not complain. You have eliminated your chance to learn more about the car. The moment where you make your offer, you stop asking questions. You stop checking the car out. You don't bring up any other things. You can ask him something about an option, but it has to be made clear that his answer to that will have absolutely nothing to do with whether the deal you have proposed will consummate. If you'll accept my offer, you're not going to hear from me or my lawyers, regardless of what happens. Anything bad can happen, and as long as you didn't explicitly lie to me about something, we're good. And honestly, even if they did lie to you, you don't have a ton of leverage if it's a used car and you drive it away. Again, those are the risks you take, but the risks are why you get the good deal. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too, get the car checked out, make sure it's as perfect as it could ever be, and then get the most screaming deal ever. It might be better, it might be cheaper in some circumstances to do all those things, but again, this is how I buy cars, and that's what you guys asked about. So when I make a lowball offer, my shrewd negotiation tactics are accept all the risks and just get the deal. As long as that deal's good enough, you can have a lot of the risks manifest badly, and you're still gonna come out ahead. So if you can qualify yourself, volunteer your commitment, eliminate your outs, close quickly, and make it clear that you're not going to be a problem for them, you can make a great lowball offer. And not one that they're like, why would you do that? Why would you even say something like that? In fact, hopefully they'll say that they appreciate all those things and they're ready to sell it. Regardless, they're not going to hate you for it. And that's really what it's all about. I've gotten some great deals, and again, the feeling of that moment, the anxiety of like wanting to sign that buyer's order, drive it over the curb, get it off the truck, whatever it takes to get that car delivered, there is absolutely nothing better. So again, this is terrible advice for generic used car shopping, but it's exactly how I've done it over and over again with great success. I've never done all these things and bought a sports car, something that wasn't inherently depreciating like a daily driver SUV, and lost money. I will one day, and that goes with the territory, and I accept that as the risks, but as long as you know enough about the car to ask the right questions before you make the offer, not after. The offer is what you're gonna pay based on knowing everything you need to know. It's no more back and forth. So that's how I would make a lowball offer, and that is very different. In fact, it is absolutely the opposite of the way PJ from Exotic Car Hacks buys his cars. And that's what makes this world so interesting. PJ's compiled just an amazing resource, education on how to buy a car. And it's some stuff that's a little bit like this, but mostly it's a way to protect yourself, to minimize your risks, and to still get the best deal possible. His strategy's cool, I like mine, but the great thing is that we've both had great success in doing it. So be sure to check out Exotic Car Hacks to learn more about how they teach you to buy cars, to leverage financing, to minimize depreciation, and to have the best experience possible, leveraging their amazing community of Exotic Car Hacks users. So check out the link in the description below for their best deals since Black Friday, and you'll be well on your way to your first Exotic Car Hack.